Imagine waking up, scrolling through the news and seeing this headline: United States government revalues gold to $10,000 per ounce. Sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you that this might not be as far-fetched as it seems? Behind closed doors, massive financial moves are taking place, moves that could shake the global economy, redefine the value of gold, and even determine the future of the US dollar. And here is where things get even wilder. For the first time in decades, the US government might finally audit its gold reserves at Fort Knox. You know, the vault that supposedly holds hundreds of billions of dollars in gold? But here is the catch. No one really knows how much is actually in there. For all we know, they could open those doors and find a couple of empty coffee cups, an old printer from the 1980s, and a sticky note that says, "Be back soon." But that is not even the biggest story. A new US sovereign wealth fund could be in the works, and it may be backed by gold. If this happens, it could change everything. The government could revalue its gold reserves, unlocking trillions of dollars without having to print more money. But why now? What is really going on behind the scenes? And more importantly, what does this mean for your money, your investments, and even the future of Bitcoin? Stick with me, because by the end of this video you will have a clear picture of why this could be the most significant financial shift of our generation. Let us start with Fort Knox. The US government claims to have about 260 million ounces of gold stored in places like Fort Knox, West Point, and the Denver Mint. But here is where things get suspicious. There has not been a full, independent audit of these reserves since the 1950s. That means, for nearly 70 years, we have just been taking their word for it. Now, let me ask you something. If you gave your friend $100 to hold on to, but for 7 decades they refused to let you see it, would you still believe it was there? Probably not. Governments are notorious for playing financial shell games, and history proves it. Take 1971, for example, when President Nixon took the US off the gold standard. One day, every dollar was backed by gold. The next day, poof, just paper, backed by government promises. And we all know how trustworthy those can be. So, what happens if this long overdue audit finally takes place? Well, there are 2 possible scenarios. Best case, the gold is actually there, and we all breathe a sigh of relief. Worst case, the reserves are lower than reported, or even worse, some of that gold has been secretly sold or leased over the years. If the second scenario turns out to be true, confidence in the US financial system could collapse overnight. And with the global economy already on shaky ground, this could be the final straw that sends investors scrambling toward gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Sovereign wealth fund backed by gold. Why now? Now, let us talk about the second major development, the potential creation of a US sovereign wealth fund. If this happens, it would be a historic first. The US could revalue its gold reserves, raising the official price from around $2,000 per ounce to possibly $10,000 per ounce or more. By doing this, the government could unlock trillions of dollars in financial power without having to print more money. Sounds like a magic trick, right? But the real question is, why now? One theory is that this is a desperate move to stabilize the economy. Right now, the US is drowning in over $34 trillion in national debt, and that number is rising by the second. If they can use gold to shore up their balance sheet, it might buy them some time before the debt crisis spirals out of control. Another theory? This is about global power. For years, countries like China and Russia have been aggressively stockpiling gold. At the same time, the BRICS nations are developing alternative trade systems that reduce reliance on the US dollar. If the US suddenly revalues its gold, it could be a strategic move to counter these threats and maintain its position as the world's financial leader. What this means for gold prices and Bitcoin. Now let us talk about what this could mean for gold prices. If the US revalues its gold holdings, demand will go through the roof. Central banks, investors, and even foreign governments will scramble to increase their gold reserves. And when demand skyrockets, so do prices. But there is another twist. Cryptocurrency. For years, Bitcoin has been called digital gold, a hedge against inflation and government manipulation. But if gold suddenly becomes more valuable and central to the financial system, what happens to Bitcoin and the broader crypto market? Some believe that if gold is reintroduced as a core economic asset, the need for Bitcoin could diminish. After all, if the government is backing real assets, do people still need a digital alternative? On the other hand, others argue that this will actually push more people toward Bitcoin. Why? Because if governments are making major moves in gold, it signals that trust in fiat currency is collapsing. And when people lose trust in traditional money, they start looking for decentralized alternatives, like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Are we on the verge of a massive financial reset? So, let us recap. A full audit of US gold reserves could finally reveal the truth about Fort Knox. A potential sovereign wealth fund could mean a major gold revaluation. Gold prices could surge, triggering huge ripple effects across global markets. Bitcoin and crypto could either suffer or thrive, depending on how this plays out. But the biggest question remains, why now? Is this just a financial maneuver to stabilize a crumbling economy? Or is something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Are we on the verge of a global financial reset? And most importantly, do you believe the gold is actually there? Or is the US government about to pull off the financial equivalent of opening the fridge and realizing someone ate your leftovers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one discussion we all need to be having. And if you found this video insightful, hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and turn on notifications so you do not miss what happens next. Because trust me, things are moving fast, and you do not want to be left behind. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.